Welcome to Dry Arabia, and today, spawning in the southwest corner of the map, we've got Kiljadi playing in purple as the Ottomans. His opponent today will be more or less in the northeast, in blue. Vortex playing as the Mongols. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Age of Empires forecasted game, featuring two incredibly aggressive civilizations, and that's why I chose this match, because, well, we do love to see a bit of aggression, we love to see some action in Age of Empires 4, and we are pretty much guaranteed with these two players, especially with the civilizations and also because of the players. Both are, well, Vortex especially known to be very aggressive. I think Kiljadi is as well, and he's going to have to be playing up against the Mongols as the Ottomans. Hope you guys are all having a great day, enjoying yourselves, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening. I hope you're enjoying the casted games on the channel so far. Hoping to keep that going and hopefully keep you guys entertained. And hopefully you are enjoying the content and the matchups so far. So with this civilization matchup, the Mongols can be very aggressive in the Dark Age, going for those early spearmen, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So it's going to get a barracks, double produce those spearmen that are already onto the field, so looking to get an outpost rush. Speaking of outpost rushes, the wood lines for the Ottomans today are kind of a pretty bad situation. They're both incredibly far forward, nothing at the back. So, one outpost in this sort of position is going to be a little bit devastating. The good thing is that this wood line is fairly close to the town centre, so even if he does get an outpost right about here, he should still be able to gather wood here, Kiljadi, but he will want to not let that outpost go up. The only real option for him is to maybe drop a barracks himself. He does have a military school nice and early, which will certainly help his situation, but it's just not going to be enough because they don't produce particularly fast. So he's going to be completely outnumbered, completely outpoked with the spearmen. Two of them already, he's setting a third, so he's really committing to this outpost rush. He's going to look to build that with one villager. I'd like to see how Kiljadi reacts to this. So we'll be going up with the Twin Minaret Madrasa, given that food income guaranteed and safe. Well, not guaranteed, but very safe. The spearman's going to try and get a poke and prod on the villager. Needs to be careful because there's 3 spearmen of the Mongols. And this is a situation where the Ottomans just can't really compete. At least not with the build that Kiljadi has gone for. There's no way to compete with this. So the outpost will go up, just depending on how much Kiljadi tries to commit to defend it. I mean, there is a world in which he may look to get villagers there, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to send 6 villagers. I mean, this is a win, I think, if you're Vortex, because he sacrificed 1 villager, he made a couple of spearmen, but he's idling a lot of villager time. That's the key bit of detail. A lot of villagers are being idled. No deletion on the outpost. They threatened to torch it down, but he's going to fight with the villagers. And I think, the fact that these spearmen are free for the Ottomans certainly helps. And when I say free, obviously there's that initial investment in the military school, but that military school for the rest of the game is going to produce units now, so certainly strong. Delete that. No. Vortex. Maybe he feels convinced that he's going to keep that alive, actually, to be fair, with 3 spearmen. Could do a decent job. A lot of idle time. I think he might lose a villager here if he's not careful. Kiljadi just about gets away with it. Oh, no, he doesn't. He backs it back into it. Okay, he sacrifices 1 villager to try and deny the outpost. This is actually looking a bit tricky. There's a lot of investment in terms of villager time. I'm not sure how that pans out, who that favours. I think Vortex gets the better of that. Because it just caused so much idle time. I think 6 villagers for that amount of time is a little bit crazy, actually, when you think about it. Now, Kiljadi is to the feudal age. Vortex will be a little bit delayed because of the fact that, of course, he's just committed to that outpost rush. But he's not going to be too far behind. He's going to start building that landmark pretty soon, getting more sheep into the town centre. So we can see the initial aggression already. And this is why I chose this match. I knew it would be entertaining. Now, what's interesting is, with the free units that the Ottomans can get from military schools, if Kiljadi does look to get those nice and early, there is a window of opportunity for him to put a lot of pressure in the feudal age. He should be able to outmatch and outproduce Vortex. Now, Vortex does have the Mongols' Uvu, which he can double produce with, but with the Mongols having that little pressure early on, a little bit of an advantage in terms of military production, the Ottomans should have a little bit of a power spike compared to the Mongols, say around the 7-8 minute mark, where they can get a meta, they can potentially get their vizier point, getting the imams, getting the healing for those units. He may go for the Anatolian hills for the sheep. We shall see whether he looks to go for an eco approach. But I think in this situation, both civilizations probably play this out as one town center. I think it's very difficult for either civilization to justify going for 2 town centers, especially the Mongols. It's not really what they do. They're not the most defensive civilization. Sure, they can get cheaper outposts with emplacements perhaps, but walling is really not an option for them. Now, we talked about how the woodlines are a bit horrible for the Ottomans. Well, they're not that much better for the Mongols. This one's further forward, and this one's well out of the way, which is a little bit tricky. Yeah, it's tricky. He's going to go for the Deerstone's landmark, so trade is not really on his mind, and it's partly because of the trade post location. It's not the most ideal. I mean, to be fair, you could put a trade post here in the north and it's got a long distance to travel and it would be running through the main town centre, but it's not the most ideal, neat trade route. Mongols do trade quite nicely, but I think against the civilization like Ottomans, it's very difficult to justify investing into that because of the mobility that they get with Sipahi. And as you can see, the first vizier point is coming out for the imams to heal up those units as they chop away on that wood. So the outpost is up and running. It'd be interesting if he decides to go for a second. He is actually. That's kind of sneaky. I'm not sure if Kiljari spots that. I don't think he sees that at all. That could become a pain a lot later on in the game because he might look to relocate here, but it's still a little bit awkward. He might have to go all the way down here, which is, to be fair, even more awkward. We shall see how he decides to address the situation. It's going to be a stable for the Mongols. No real surprises there. Going for the Keshiks, a very strong unit. The Ottomans now going to pile pressure on this Uvu. This is the thing they're going to attack with the spearmen and the archers, and I'm sure those two imams will be going across the map as well. The Khan spots it. He knows it's happening. This is what we talked about, how the Ottomans at 7-8 minutes, they kind of have a little bit of an advantage. They're pushing with military, 12-5. But, oh, this is an awkward spot for the outpost. Gets an archer for free. That is less than ideal for Kiljari. He's going to want to deal with that soon. But yeah, don't forget the Ottomans, well, the Mongols rather, can double produce using the Uvu. Is getting those two Keshiks in the queue right now. The trouble is, losing the Uvu is actually quite significant. We'll have to look at see where the other stone pile is. I was right next to it. But that's not going to happen, so he's going to maybe have to move down eastwards to the next stone pile, which is a very exposed area. And I think if Kiljari spots that happening, he can do a lot of damage. Now the Imam's doing great work. Healing up the units does lose a unit, but the trouble is even two Keshiks is not enough for this situation. It's a really nice power spike that the Ottomans have in the feudal age, as we can see just here. Now on the back of this, I wonder whether we'll see the engagement first. No, just going to be a bit of dancing around. I don't think it's going to be huge amounts of engagement. Second military school is not up and running yet. He's going to go for the production building. So got an archer range, barracks, and Sipahi stable, and producing archers from the military school. So a lot of production, as you can see, coming out for the Ottomans. And don't forget the production buildings are actually cheaper for the Ottomans. So these guys cost 100 wood a pop. With the other civilizations, it would cost 150. So it's a significant saving. It kills another unit there for free almost, Vortex. You can see the unit numbers really starting to build up. 19-8. That is a big differential, and that might just continue to grow. But the outpost there on the wood line, really harassing, gets a villager kill. That's actually the first villager, I think that... Oh no, it must be the second villager. I don't know if the first one didn't register. I'm pretty sure he lost one up here earlier on. It's only saying one on the worker kills. In any case, this outpost getting arrow slits will be an issue. He's going to have to just relocate. I don't think he can fight that, really. He doesn't have the melee units that he will want. And the Uvu has been taken care of here in the north. Alright, a bit more of a quieter situation. He's going to relocate that Uvu down the south, and I wonder whether Kiljari will spot that and head over in that direction. Now, with the outposts coming in for the Mongols, I have to say it's one of those civilizations that I think a lot of people maybe either love or hate. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, do you love to play as Mongols, or do you hate playing as the Mongols, and how about facing them? Let me know what you think about the civilization, because it's I think it's one of these civilizations that divides opinion, especially with the outpost Russians. The reason why I say that is because a lot of RTS games, you see RTS games often treating outpost rushes, turret rushes, as being quite cheesy strategies, and a lot of people find it very tilting to go against cheesy strategies. There we are. Alrighty. Yeah, units keep kind of plowing along the field. Look at that. 24 of them, 28 of them, really starting to build up in large numbers. Oh, there is one other question I would love to hear from you guys. So, with the Age of Empires forecasted games, and you've been watching them, I would love to know, do you guys actually play Age of Empires? A lot of people maybe just watch. So type of 1 in the comment section below if you play Age of Empires. Type of 2 if you only watch. As we see an engagement here, we're going to watch this engagement. There's archers on the back line there for Vortex. Not much of a front line. Just two Keshiks. The Sipahi are going to try and jump on that. A large number of units here for Kiljari. I think he pushes this away, and the Imam is doing a lot of the healing. That's so useful. He's going to try and focus on them. He will lose those two Imams. That's such a pretty big value taken out there for Vortex. Killing those Imams is really important. It does have the meta, actually, which increases the attack speed by 15%. That's actually a really nice bonus. But losing the two Imams is a little bit of a big loss there for Kiljari. Still engagements happening. I think Vortex is just trying to buy himself some time. He needs to back away, though, because he can't really engage too much longer. And I wonder if Kiljari now spots this. Taking care of the military, he might go for the Uber in the production buildings. That would be a problem. Vortex kind of struggling here. Does have the villager lead. And I think at this point, it's going to be both civilizations going for just one town center play, full aggression, and see who can micro better, potentially. But I have to say the advantage probably is lying with the Ottomans because of the fact they're denying the Uvi the double production. It's such a big bonus for the Mongols. Don't forget the military school constantly producing units. I would like to see another military school being added in sometime soon there for Kiljadi to make the most of that. But we'll see. He's going to look to take down this archer range. I don't think there's a way that Vortex can effectively deny that. Takes out the retreating Keshik. That is huge value, and that's going to be on fire, and so is the Ottoman, the Uvi rather. The Ottomans getting the better of the Mongols so far in the early stages of this game. Going to relocate the Uvi back up north. There's a lot of wood investment going into this. But it is what it is. You can see 150 wood per Uvi. He's lost one so far. Going to lose a second. That's 300 wood. Add in another 150 for the arch range. 450 wood. Already lost here for the Mongols. Coming out strong here. Those Sipahi and melee units for the Ottomans. You can see the destruction value at the bottom as well. 2,670 versus 1,650. Big difference there, of course. And that's going to hold the Ottomans in good stead. The spearmen look just to deny this wood line. A village, an arch coming out to his death, I suspect. Goes any further forward. Wood line has been relocated to the east side, as we thought might be the case, and there are the two villages on stone, so it looks like we will be looking to get that secondary, possibly a third military school up and running soon as well. Now looking at the wood count, it looks like they're to be steadily climbing up for Vortex, which is kind of interesting. He might be looking for a second town centre. I don't know how I feel about that. He's floating a lot of wood, not producing. It does have the archery range. As I said, it just does queue up an archer, so maybe that's the reason for the wood. We'll see. He's got quite a lot in his bank, though. If we try and take this outpost, deny the gold. Spearmen dive in with the Keshiks. The Keshiks do back away. The spearmen dive in on those Sipahi. A lot of those do go down, but decent number survive. The archers for the Ottomans might need to just focus on the fight rather than the outpost. But fighting on the outpost, not ideal. The Meta's still alive, though. The attack speed by 15% bonus for them is absolutely huge in these fights. Needs to back away, doesn't want to fight underneath the town centre, that is for sure. Being pulled and prodded back and forth. Maybe some counter raids coming in would be nice for the Mongols, but if he does that, he'll have lack of units here in the main fight. And this is the main fight that's happening. Keshiks dive in, spearmen on hand to try and brace. But looks like Kiljadi just happy to chill out here for now. 500 wood. I think it will be a second town centre for Vortex. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel like, I mean, I guess he feels like he can't match the unit production here for the Ottomans. So the only other way to deal with this is to maybe boom, get a build up an economy lead, and then build an army from there. We'll have to see if that holds or not. It's going to come down to whether the Mongols can hold if he decides that strategy. And the issue is that the Mongols aren't the best civilization at defensive play. He could perhaps spam some outposts with the emplacements to improve that chances of defending, but moving the town centre a bit closer to the wood line might be useful. A second TC here could be a good option. He's got that 700 wood, needs about another 100. Also, there is. I think he may... Does he have a market? Because I think it felt like he bought that, but it might have just been a big drop off. And the question is, where is he going to build that town centre? Could go out to the deer and wood here, which would be quite nice, and especially if he can keep it secret. But he's going to go for the wood here. And that's actually going to be a nice static defense as well in some ways, to try and keep the condensed food economy safe. But it does telegraph, obviously, his actions. And, well, Kiljadi heading backwards, back to his base to get the production going. Blacksmith and another military school. Now, the blacksmith will actually increase the production speed of these buildings as well. And that's another reason why the Ottomans can really start to pile on aggressive pressure. Another Sipahi to bang on those drums to get the 15% extra attack speed. And we'll see, because the economy is looking pretty good here for Kiljadi. A little bit behind in terms of the villager count, but he's got 3 units, and that's not to be underestimated. 2 military schools now operating. Has the stone for a third, but not just quite the wood income. Going to get some outposts in this little extension of the wood. He wants to protect that for sure. And of course, with the mobility against the Mongols, that's something he'll always be concerned about. There is the market, though, for the Mongols. I don't think he's going to be trading that at this point. Here comes some raids here for Vortex. Trying to get... Perhaps he could circle around to the gold. That could be a bit devastating. 3 villages there. Relatively exposed. The army grouping up together on the front lines. Looks like it's going to go for rams. Now, there has been a crazy strategy with the Ottomans recently of just going crazy all in. Like taking your villages with textiles and just ramming and building like 5 or 6 rams and damaging everything. Trying to destroy everything with one foul sweep. But the Mongols, they can pack up and run. And we talked about devastation on that gold villager vein. That's exactly what happens. Loses 3 villagers. And now he backs away with a good lead in villagers, 7 of them. And that's going to get worse for the Ottomans now that there is that second town centre in play. Okay, so this is an interesting spot in the game. I think Kiljadi is reading it correctly to get the rams, though, because he'll want to pile on some pressure very soon to do some damage. He can't afford for the Mongols to get 2 town centre untouched or unpressurized, and looks like he might push in very, very soon. Yeah, he's looking to get those upgrades as well. So, got Bloomery coming in just now. And it'd be interesting to see if he decides to regain this wood line, though. He does have a lot of units. He could just burn them down pretty quickly. The trouble is, if he does that, he telegraphs his actions. Going to try and get a bit of a raid with the Sipahi. Dives in a little bit, sees that second town centre. And needs to back away. A lot of weak units, actually. We want to try and keep those alive for as long as possible. Loses one on the retreat, possibly a second. Yeah, he does. And good pickoffs there by the Mongols. Those Sipahi, though, they're going to be joined with their comrades, the other units on the field. Pushes back a couple of Keshiks himself. Or another raid coming in. Villagers do garrison inside the outpost. Good choice and decision to build that, because you need to protect those villagers on the deer camp. But these 3 Keshiks on the Khan have been doing a lot of good work for the Mongols. 57 military to 46, but the villager numbers starting to really climb for Vortex. Got 10 villagers in a lead. And slowly but surely, Kiljadi, I think he's got a 10-minute window. It feels like he's got about 10-15 minute window. If he doesn't kill his opponent or do significant damage in that time, it is going to be an uphill task. Even the Mongols, they're not necessarily known for their booming. But when you have a significant villager lead, it can be very devastating. Those villagers do back away on the berries just in time, and the Sipahi are going to try and chase that down. He should chase this down, actually, because the movement speed should be better for the Sipahi. 1.75 versus the 1.62, so he'll chase that down, should clear this up. Especially with the meta involved as well. Meta is actually faster, so certainly be able to keep up. But the Keshik's going to try and retreat to the safety of the outpost. All the spearmen they pop out. And he's going to take the fight in any case. Does lose one spearman and is going to try and torch this outpost down. Should get rid of it, but it does mean the Keshiks survive and live for another day. Want to try and regroup, and it looks like both players are starting to try and group up a large army to take a big fight. I think the Mongols are happy with the situation, though. He won't want to face aggression, for as long as possible. But the Ottomans are having a different plan here. The third ram popping out. Now, the concern for the next fight that's kind of upcoming is that, well, the Mongols will need to focus on the Ottoman military, which is really starting to spiral out of control, and that leaves the rams to try and deal some damage on the buildings. That'll force villagers to come out for the Mongols, not only causing idle time, but also the potential to lose villagers and having a bit of a detriment onto that eco that is built up. So we'll see how this one pans out. It's going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. And looks like the rams are now going to be heading forward. And it's go time for the Ottomans. Investing in another barracks. And it does have that third military school. All villagers on berries. One does get sniped. These guys are still getting so much value. Does lose one of them, though, to the retreat on the town centre fire. Spearman chasing. Decent overall engagement. I mean, he's going to be happy with that. Trying to micro that nicely. Takes the fight, clears it up, though. Didn't necessarily need to do that, but he did anyway. And here we have 84 minutes due to 64. Things are going to heat up very soon. But Vortex with like a 15 villager lead, 16 villager lead. That is looking very extensive. And so this is the way he needs to hold. He's going to try and get some outposts, but I'm not sure that goes up in time. He didn't invest in them. Maybe got a little bit too greedy. Villagers garrison inside the town centre. And here come the rounds. But also the villagers are idle. So the extra villagers that it has, they're kind of idle, not helping the situation at this point. With the metas on the back line, inspiring these Ottoman units to fire off faster. The archers focusing on the archers themselves. The Sipahi going to act as a meat shield, looking to try to protect the archers from those Keshiks. It's going to be archers versus archers at this stage, mostly. But the Keshiks are being a large meat shield, and this is where it becomes interesting. The rams are unopposed at this point. It's army versus army in terms of units. These rams, they're dishing out damage. The second town centre goes down. 11 villager lead still remains. That's not going to last for too much longer, especially if the push continues. And 29 villages are idled, half the economy there for Vortex. That is not going to be great for his defense and producing units. Going to get some of those Gers out the way. All villagers are popping out though. They're going to get a bit of the rams. The army was slightly out of position there for Kiljadi. Was focusing on the Ger instead. One ram goes down. The second's going to go down soon, but not without casualties. The archers, some of them are focusing on the villagers as they then redirect to the military there for the Mongols. A couple of villagers do go down on the retreat, and all of a sudden that villager lead's not looking all that extensive. Khan should go down soon. He does get the arrow off there in the end, but it's to back off now. And it looks like Kiljadi's going to head back and just regroup a little bit. It feels like he's done a lot of damage, and to be fair, he's not wrong. Has done quite a bit of damage. And again, the Uvu in the south going to go down. Taking that out will be huge. No double production here again for the Mongols. But denying that's pretty significant considering there are 3 of those military schools. Fourth one still isn't added in just yet for Kiljadi. Maybe doesn't quite have enough of the vizier points just yet for that. Here come the Keshiks with the archers on the back. Takes the fight a little bit. I'm not sure. Looks like Kiljardi doesn't want to engage, and I don't blame him with the number of Keshiks. He's losing units on the retreat though. I think he's going to fight. We need to get close to those Keshiks. They just can't. And the trouble for Kiljardi is losing a lot of units on the retreat. Maybe he overstepped the mark a little bit. But yeah, this is bad when he loses those units for free. Does lose a Keshik though, Vortex. Here come the spearmen. Oh, Keshiks do back away at the right time. This might be go time. The reinforcements coming in nicely as well is going to be quite helpful for the Ottomans. Defender's advantage more or less in his favour. The spy trying to get close, but the archers microing the spearmen down. If the spearmen don't survive, that will allow the Keshiks to engage, and that will be a problem. The spearmen numbers are looking healthy though. The archers need to go down there for Vortex if Kiljardi wants to win the fight. He needs to focus on the archers because they're slaying the spearmen. Couple of Keshiks still chasing down. Kiljardi backing off for now. Looks like Kiljardi looking to go to that castle age, and he certainly will not want to fight and engage. Once these units become castle age units, the Sipahi do turn around. Keshiks back off. It's coming down to important micro. It'll be interesting to see what landmark it goes for the castle age. I suspect it will be the Mehmed Imperial Armory. We need to get confirmation on that, and that is indeed the case. It's going up with that landmark. It's losing so many units on the retreat. This is a really nice pushback by Vortex, has to be said, especially with the second town centre that was behind. I'm not sure if he's going to rebuild that actually. He lost it, so he does have a villager lead still, but no increase on that. Vortex probably feels like his opponent's up. It's actually kind of a telltale read on the game to know when your opponent is retreating like that. It could be because he's going up to the next stage, and that's exactly what's happening. Going with 17 villagers, washing it up, and we'll be able to get some good siege engines, mangonels, likely for the Ottomans. Free, of course. But Vortex looking strong. He's got more villagers, more military. Feels hard here for Kiljardi, unless those military schools and the Mehmed Imperial Armory can mean they've got the units to deal out a lot of damage and take one big fight. I think that's why you might need to get back into the game. He lost a lot of units on the retreat. Okay, it's going to be the step redoubt, the landmark of choice for Vortex. It's going to be increasing that gold income by 50%. It's dropped off from the gold vein, a nice bit of income. But what's interesting here is that whilst the Ottomans have less military, they do have the timing. They're going to be getting this veterancy for their units nice and early, and it gives them a little bit of a window to push with the better upgraded units, albeit less units. So that's something that needs to be watched out for the Ottomans, as he does get that castle age now, Vortex, and is going to be looking to match like for like. Does look to get those upgrades. Veterancy for the archers, veterancy for the Keshiks. Going to get some spring order placements for defensive positionings as well. So I'm going to try and chase out the Keshiks. The Keshiks actually keeping the Ottoman army back at home, and that's actually kind of key because he's got the mobility, right? He never really has to engage, but what he's doing here is so smart. He's keeping these units, which are essentially veteran, well, castle age units at least. They're keeping them at home because obviously the Mongols will want time to get up to the veterancy classes for their units before taking any engagement. And that looks like it's the case. Sipahi though, maybe does get some raiding value. Inadvertently kills the boar. The north could get some raiding value on that gold. There's no outpost there, no protection. That could be absolutely huge. And you know, when you're playing Age of Empires 4, one thing you do often look for is gold. Where can you harass? And that's exactly where he's going. Got some one Sipahi to scout and the rest following suit. This could be bad for the Mongols. Keshiks riding side by side the units. Both armies still heading northwards. Now, the funny thing is that, well, the Mongols actually are aware of this. He actually dropped the falcon, scouting falcon, as you might be able to see there, Vortex. So he knows where the army is. He backs off there, Kiljardi, because Vortex is coming in with his archers as well. Well, the Keshiks are riding home, which is rather curious. I think he's going to try and defend the raid that's coming in. Sipahi diving in a little bit, getting some villages that are out to gold. Denying the gold is actually kind of huge. Going to be denying the Keshik production for a little bit of time, but the Keshiks are going to catch up and push that away. The archers do snipe a couple of them on the retreat there for Kiljardi, but there is a mangonel on the field now for the Ottomans. Come out for free, of course, from the Mehmed Imperial Army, and that could do a lot of damage if they can get a good couple of hits. The Keshiks are going to try and chase, but he could never really catch up unless he uses the maneuver arrow, which I don't think he's well, he could actually do it. I'm surprised he's not, because he'd be able to catch up against the Sipahi, which the archers and the lancers are heading towards that position now on the north for the Ottomans. I think maybe he's going to try and keep up the attack speed arrow. He wants to keep that for a big fight. Sending one Keshik just to see that those guys are heading back home. But the Ottomans force are coming forward now. The Ottomans war machine with the mangonel on the back line. 81 military to 86. 71 economy to 71 for a second. They're now at 72. But it's very even, actually, this match. All of a sudden. Now the Uvu is still up and running again. Probably like the third or fourth Uvu. But here's the engagement coming in. Mangonel. But there is a Springald there for the Mongols. That could be the big difference maker. The Mangonel will go down soon there for the Ottomans. That leaves the Mangonel alive for Vortex. I'm not sure Kiljani can take this fight. There are a couple of Janissaries there that will rip through the Keshiks. The Sipahi on the front line with the Spearmen will do great work against the Keshiks. But the Archers on the back line there for Vortex, they do have the Veterancy upgrades. And they do have the Blacksmith upgrades. But they're missing the second attack, the range attack. But so is Kiljadi. And so they're pretty even on that front. But the Mangonel might go down now to the Lancers that are trying to rush it. Fighting underneath the town centre. Overall, a good defense by Vortex. But Kiljadi wants to dive in, and the concern for the Mongols is that it's going to have a lot of villages idle, 15 of them already, and that means less gathering of resources to pump out into more military. He's just going to camp out underneath this town centre. He does have the second archer armor upgrade, the Pierce armor upgrade, which is actually going to be really useful to stay alive for a bit longer, but there's a Springald replacement in this outpost, dishing out damage. Should be enough to one-shot these units, and they're going to back off now. Vortex pushing this back. We hear the gong on the Vizier point. Be interesting to see what he decides to spend that on. Will it be a fourth military school? But a lot of these units are going down now on the retreat for the Ottomans. Vortex pushes that back very, very nicely. What's interesting, this could be an opportunity for Vortex to go for another town centre again. On the back of this. Oh, that's exactly what he does, actually. He's going to go on that deer pack on the wood. And we say this because once you've got a map position, he's got a bit of breathing space. But it does leave him a bit more exposed, right? So he's going to be investing more food into villages. It takes time to pave that back, but he does have the deer pack together. Be free food, nice food income very fast, that he can then pump into more military. I think for Kiljadi though, whilst he took kind of even trades, he lost a lot of units. He does have that fourth military school now up and running. He's getting 3 units. Just bear that in mind. That is a big game changer, I think, in this match. 3 villagers ahead though, Kiljadi. He's killed 27 villagers, Kiljadi. Holy moly. He's done a lot of damage, but Vortex keeping up on the numbers. But the Ottoman war machine rebuilding again. Farming transition coming out. A large amount of farms as well. That is no joke. Let's take a look at the number of villages on food at the moment. 45 for the Mongols, 40 for the Ottomans. Pretty even Stevens, actually. I didn't expect there to be that many, but they do stack up in the middle for Mongols. 30 of them there, and 15 of them on that deer pack. Make that 16 now, but the military heading further forward. Ottomans regrouping for now, maybe looking to wait for another siege engine. See how far along it is, coming soon. Let's talk about relics, because no relic, there's not a single relic that's been picked up. That would be quite nice to bring in there for the Ottomans, and this one, pretty safe. Do we see a mosque? Oh, we see a mosque there now. Good timing. Okay, well, the Imam is going to head now to pick up those relics. I don't see a prayer tent for the Mongols. That could be a bit of an omission if the game lasts a bit longer. That relic gold could be pretty important for both players. Bit of raiding coming in. Keshiks, 2 of them. They do snipe off 2 villagers. No protection here on the west side. And I'm surprised not to see a wall, actually. A palisade wall across here to just protect from those raids. Would be minimal wood investment. The Imam pops out. The Keshiks tanking a lot of fire from the town centres. Should lose one, potentially. Does just about lose one at the end of it. The second Mangonel comes out. Will that be the signal for the Ottomans to push at this point? We'll have to see. Alright, bit of dead time. It looks like both players looking just to mass up and take one big fight. I'll take this opportunity to say, look guys, I hope you guys enjoying the content. If you are, do give the video a thumbs up. Completely free on your end, but it really helps me out with the algorithm. And I'm really enjoying the Age of Empires 4 cast at the moment. Also, I'm getting a lot of comments that people are enjoying it, and that is really uplifting actually in many ways. It sounds a bit ridiculous, but obviously I do this for fun, but it is still quite nice to see people commenting that they're happy or they're kind of enjoying the casts, because it's a bit of a morale boost. It tells me that I'm doing a good job. Obviously, I want to keep continuing to do better and understand the civilization matchups, and I've definitely changed the way I've casted games from my initial ways that I used to start when I started doing casted games. Now I am actually analyzing games a lot more strategy talk, rather than just play-by-play commentary, just saying what's happening. Certainly do love to talk about the strategy aspect of the civilization matchups. Speaking of which, The Ottomans getting 3 units now is actually quite nice, but there comes a point with the second town centre that Vortex has. It feels like it's another repeat of what we talked about earlier, really. It's another window of opportunity that Vortex has to build an economy that can't be stopped. But it's another window of opportunity. Well, there's going to be a timing push coming in possibly here for the Ottomans where they have to do some damage because the opponent being on 2 town centres again, whilst we are heading into a differential of 9 villagers, it has to be said at this stage of game, 9 villager lead here at this point is not the biggest deal as opposed to, say, if the villager numbers were 40 and 49. That'd be a lot different, obviously, with the proportionality involved. But there could be an option here, an opportunity for the Ottomans to push before things get out of hand because, of course, the Mongols, once they do get up and running, their war machine is incredibly strong. The nice thing that Kiljard is doing, though, is getting those relics. He's got 2 in the bag already, getting 2 more, just focusing on the Uvu. No double production, though, which kind of hurts them a little bit. It does have a lot of siege. Now that we're at the 30-minute mark, it does come to a situation where siege is an issue. A lot of the game usually does revolve around siege at this point, with 2 mangonels, 3 springolds. Vortex does look to be well equipped. But there is that second siege engine workshop for, well, the first one is more of a landmark, really, but we needed this for the Ottomans. He needs those springolds out, and he needs them fast. He only has 2 so far. He does have 2 mangonels, so the siege micro is going to be really, really crucial. What's interesting is the armies are kind of going separate ways. The Ottomans are going north, the Mongols are going south. Will they cross paths? They're going right past each other. Holy moly. This could be a base trade situation. Oh no, Vortex, is he going to head north? I mean, he sees it with the Keshik. Maybe going to look to try and fight between the 2 tree lines. Oh, nice raiding force there by Kiljard, taking the villagers out on the goal. That is huge. It does mean he might be a little bit thin on the defense, but as long as he can defend, he's got a lot of raiding potential here. Just took out a lot of villagers. Holy smokes, a lot of dead bodies on the wood line as well. He does notice, though, Vortex garrisoned those villagers inside, but he can't garrison them all. Here come the mangonels. 1 sprinkle does go down. Mangonel gets hit on the janissaries and the archers. Huge fight in the middle. The mangonels do go down there for the Ottomans. 1 still remains. But with the springolds in play, that mangonel shouldn't live too much longer. Although, as I say that, the springolds are trying to retreat now. The mangonel is still there. 1 springle for the Ottomans. He's pushing this back nicely. Holy smokes. All of a sudden, Kiljard getting huge amounts of value. Let's take a look. Another raiding party is taking out those villagers on the outpost. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Vortex killed so much, but he lost so much more. And it looks like the Ottomans' war machine today took over. And the Mongols are struggling against the Ottomans.